Past meets present in this, the Samsung Galaxy S7 versus the Samsung Galaxy S6. Now, there really aren't a whole lot of design overhauls on these two devices from one to the other, and the Galaxy S7 pretty much just continues the premium design language that was started in the Galaxy S6 with the metal body and the dual glass panel design. But there have been some refinements to the elements of the phone, including the reduction in the camera hump on the back, which means that if you're sliding the phone around, you're not really going to scratch up the glass in front of the lens a whole lot anymore, if that was ever a problem. But the main two additions to the design of the Galaxy S7 from the Galaxy S6 are the curves on the back that allow it to sit even nicer in the hand, and the handling is even better this time around. With those two curves on the back, it just sits so nicely and kind of just form fits to the palm and the fingers, and getting from side to side or top to bottom on this 5.1-inch display is pretty incredible. It's almost as if they took a shrink ray to the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, and this is exactly what you get. But the other feature that returns, which is awesome, is the water and dust resistance, which means that the Galaxy S7 will be able to brave the elements a little bit better than its earlier brethren. The displays are really similar on here, as 5.1 inches really is the size for both of these devices, and they are Super AMOLED displays with Quad HD resolution, sporting really high pixel densities. You're going to get a very vibrant display on both of them with punched out colors and good viewing angles and brightness. So Samsung display prowess is still well known, and you're looking at the two of them here in the S6 and the S7. But as far as the additions are concerned, the Galaxy S7 does now have the always-on display. So every time you turn off the device, the little area where you can see the time, a calendar, the weather will be there at all times. So you can get a quick glance at that piece of information no matter what the phone is doing. And it's a very low power feature so that the always-on display doesn't take up that much battery. In terms of performance, it's really just a jump forward, as the Samsung Galaxy S6 did sort of go by the wayside of the Snapdragons of the world in order to bring their own in-house processing packages, and it, for the most part, did prove itself. The Exynos 7420 did a great job backed by 3GB of RAM, but this year we have the Snapdragon 820 making a return with the Adreno 530 and 4GB of RAM. However, depending on the market, there will be versions of the Galaxy S7 with the Exynos 8890 as well, with the same amount of RAM. But in hardware, there are some big news items here. We already talked about the return of the water and dust resistance, but we also have the return of the micro SD card slot. That's right. The Galaxy S7 now has the feature that a lot of people were wishing every Samsung phone from last year provided. The battery has also remained non-removable, though, between these two, but the battery life will hopefully get a much bigger boost, and the Galaxy S7 is hoping that 3,000 milliamp hours in the battery of the original S7 will be able to bolster what was already a decent battery life longevity in the 2550 milliamp hour unit of the S6. 16 megapixels is definitely the larger number, but the 12 megapixel S7 camera comes with much larger pixels at 1.4 microns, and it also has a f1.7 aperture lens. As far as the interface goes, you still get all of the different features. You get a couple of extra modes this time around, and the Pro mode, where you can actually granularly change all of the different settings, do provide the same amount of control no matter which one of these two that you pick. But the low light performance, as well as the fact that phase detection autofocus is inside of every single pixel, the larger pixels of the Galaxy S7, makes autofocusing a snap. And finally, in software, we still have TouchWiz, and it, for the most part, will feel very familiar. The Galaxy S7 does come back to the sort of rounded, almost cartoony type of icons throughout the interface, but there is one very important distinction to make note of here. All of the different features that were available in the Galaxy S6 come back in the S7, including the pop-up view and also the multi-window multitasking capabilities. But in the Galaxy S7, there are a few extras that are found under a very specific area of the settings, and it is called Galaxy Labs. Now, we do see a trend happening this year that app drawers might be going by the wayside, and though you do have an app drawer already in the Galaxy S7, you can actually turn it off inside of the Galaxy Labs area. Now, whether or not this is going to become a permanent feature is a little bit worrisome to us, but ultimately we hope that we will be able to keep our app drawers, and if we don't, then that will take some getting used to for a lot of users of the Galaxy S7 and future versions of TouchWiz. So there you have it for taking a look at the Galaxy S7 versus the Galaxy S6. There aren't really a whole lot of changes between these two, except refinements to an already well-received design that even if it did not provide a couple of features from last year, they did bring them this year, including the expandable storage. The battery might not be removable still, but at least it is larger this time around, and with fast charging, it should be able to handle the distance. So keep it tuned to Android Authority for more about the Galaxy S7, and remember, we're going to get our review units pretty soon, so we will be able to put this phone through its paces.